welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I want to reflect on a trip to IKEA that I went on the 6th of November. So that's last Wednesday. I visited IKEA, which is the big Swedish department store, with my support worker. And I'd really wanted to go to IKEA for like a really long time, because I'm quite interested in sort of Swedish food and culture. Coincidentally, one of my favourite clothes chains, H&M, happens to be Swedish. I love H&M, but that's just a coincidence. So yeah, so I was full of anticipation for this trip with my support worker. I was not too sure what IKEA would be like, but I was expecting there would be a bit of everything there, from food to books and kitchenware. I was expecting it to be really good, just full of exciting, different sort of like Swedish stuff. I mean, obviously I knew it was mainly like a furniture warehouse essentially, but I was expecting there to be quite a variety of different things. Now, I was rather perturbed when we arrived because there was no simple entrance alongside the pavement, which there had appeared to be when I looked on Google Maps beforehand, because I always like plan my journeys beforehand using Google Maps to get an idea of how somewhere's going to look. My support worker knew how to get inside because she'd been there before, and it meant climbing up steps within a multi-storey car park. I did not want to go in a lift because I do have a lift phobia. I don't like going in lifts if I can help it. So we ended up looking at IKEA backwards, starting off where you're supposed to finish, the food section, in order to get around my lift phobia by using the stairs instead. The food section was interesting, and it was set in a sort of warehouse room. When I went into the food section, I was like, oh, this is interesting. And I was expecting everywhere, the rest of the place to be sort of like similar and not too kind of different to like the food section. And yeah, well, I mean, there wasn't much on offer, which choice was fairly limited. But I did come away, hang on, I'll just show it to you. I came away with this flatbread here, which is crisp bread with, sorry, it's a crisp bread, not flatbread, sorry, a crisp bread with dill. I got that, which looks interesting. And also, hang on, I'll just show you, where is it? I did have it somewhere, it's gone missing. Oh yeah. Sorry, yes, it took me a little while to find it there. All my stuff is kind of, it really does need to be organised at some point. But yes, I found it. This lingonberry jam, I also got this lingonberry jam as well, which I'm looking forward to try. That's very much a sort of, hope you can see that alright. It's very much a kind of a Swedish thing, lingonberry jam. So I got that. Yes, so. Yes, and obviously then I got these as well. So we then had to get to the next floor. We then had to get to the next floor up, but the escalator was not working, so we went via an internal stairwell, which triggered my anxiety because there were no windows. It was like very, very contained, and it felt very kind of claustrophobic in there. Yeah, it was very stuffy. And yeah, and it felt very kind of, it did sort of trigger a sort of sense of claustrophobia in there. We looked around the bedroom section where you can see display beds and display kitchens, and at first I was interested because, you know, it's quite fascinating seeing how different beds are sort of laid out. But I did begin to feel more and more tense as we progressed into the store. It sort of felt like a huge maze. The lights were harsh. So from a lighting perspective, it was not good at all. I think, I'm not sure what, like, they were just very, very bright, almost like strip lights. Like, it just felt very, because I am quite sensitive to light, and I think that was like triggering me quite a lot, and kind of triggering that sort of sense of like borderline panic. I'm not sure if we'd call it an actual full-blown panic attack, because I don't really know, because I'm not quite sure what a full-blown panic attack would look like, and I'm still trying to work it out for myself, because I don't know, what does a full-blown panic attack look like? I don't know. I wasn't hyperventilating or anything. I wasn't hyperventilating. As a general rule, I don't tend to hyperventilate anyway, unless I'm being triggered by an actual phobia. But I did feel like very, very tense, and like as though the sort of sense of kind of unreality, almost like a sense of disorientation, I guess you'd call it. Because it did feel like I was very enclosed in this very enclosed space, like there wasn't a way out, the lights were really harsh, it was almost like everything was very white, the lights were sort of like very bright white, and then you've got the kind of the gleaming floor, and it's all very harsh. It weren't, as I say, there weren't any windows, so there wasn't any natural light, there wasn't any air movement, it was really stuffy. It kind of felt like being underground, like almost being in sort of like a submarine. So yeah, it was overwhelming, I guess is a word for it, overwhelming. My legs did feel like they might give way, and I did feel rather smothered and trapped. Now, when I'm extremely worried, I actually rarely say anything, and I rarely show my fear visibly on my face, so everyone else, I mean anyone who saw me walking through IKEA, would not think I was on a borderline state of panic, because I do not tend to show fear. I don't tend to show emotion generally, and except for most moments when I'm actually in a state of phobic anxiety. When I'm in a state of phobic anxiety, then I do show it. I'm like screaming basically. But most of the time, when I'm in a state of extreme tension, I'm not showing it visibly, but inside I'm really, really tense. I'm trying not to show it because it's almost like I don't want to admit that I'm anxious. I don't want to tell people what's going on, because if I do, it's almost like a floodgate. It kind of, admitting it actually tends to make it worse for me. It's like, so it's better for me to stay silent, to just stoically try and carry on, even though it literally feels like my world is about to dissolve and I'm about to die and everything, and I do not know what's going to happen, and but all I've got to do, my only choice is to keep on going, because if I admit it to myself, if I say something, if I say I'm feeling really bad, it's going to give way. I'm going to basically stop panicking. So yeah, so I didn't show it on my face or anything. So I have, but I do have this sort of habit of like, when I'm stressed, I kind of like go like that with my fingers a lot. I tend to wiggle my fingers. That's often a clue I'm getting stressed. It's a very subtle clue because I tend to hide it, so I don't think anyone will notice it anyway, but I do tend to go like that. Or I also like, I often like rub my stomach, or like, I don't know, just kind of like, almost like massage myself. I tend to like move my fingers like that. And it's a kind of way of relieving attention, but I try and do it in a really subtle way because I don't want to make myself look weird, and I don't want to draw attention to myself. And also, if like people are seeing that I'm actually almost like panicking, it tends to give way, like I say, like a floodgate breaking down a floodgate. So I like to try and just pretend it's all fine, I'm all good, but I do go like that a bit when I'm. So it's up. So I'm, you know, that is one of the little signs. Basically, I'm anxious and I'm going like that. But as I say, most people wouldn't notice that because I'm like doing it quite subtly. So it kind of helps, I think, because it's kind of like a repetitive thing, so it's kind of like you're focusing on that, and you're kind of like, it helps in that dissociation, because I was literally trying to dissociate everything. Where was it? But yeah, I don't like telling someone I'm close to losing control, because it does often feel like a disclosure releases a floodgate, as I've already mentioned, and then I can no longer contain the fear. But I did eventually tell my support worker that I'd had enough, and I needed to get out. I did tell her eventually. By that point I was really tense. I wasn't just a bit tense, I was really tense. And it did literally feel, if I was in it any longer, I literally was going to have, something was going to happen. It was that close to basically full-blown panic. But there was no immediate escape in any case, because it seemed to take ages to get out, as the room was so big. It was almost, like I say, it did literally feel like being in a maze. So I had no choice but to keep on walking. It was either that or basically collapse, and that wasn't an option. So I tried to dissociate from the tension by forcing myself to walk. Feeling a bit smothered was horrible though, and I was so glad when we emerged in the outside air. I was like, oh, it's like, you know, coming up for air almost. It's almost like, and it did feel like a bit like, yeah, literally like coming up for air, like you've been underground, coming up from air. And then like my legs were like literally shaking at that point, and they felt a little while to kind of like, but it did feel so good when I was out in the open, so good. It's also really annoying because like people, there were quite a few people. I mean, we went on a weekday. On a Saturday it would have been 10 times worse. On a Saturday there's just no way. On a Saturday it probably would have come out as proper panic. I actually don't know. I don't feel I could have contained it if there were any more. Luckily, I mean, there were people there, and it was annoying because quite a few people walked really slowly, and it's really hard to kind of like get so annoying when you just want to get out and there are people in front of you. But luckily there weren't too many people because it was a weekday. It would have been 10 times worse on a Saturday, and because I was with my support worker, I would not have been able to contain my panic if I was on my own. It would have happened. Something would have happened. I don't know what would have happened actually, because I wasn't in that situation, but because I was with my support worker, at least I could focus on the fact I was safe. I was with someone, and if the worst came to the worst, she would be there to help me. I wasn't on my own. That kind of helped as well. So I have decided the next time, obviously IKEA is not for me. It was a horrible experience. I coped, I survived, and I'm pleased to report I did survive. I guess it shows that, you know, I can, even when I'm feeling extremely tense, I can still survive. So it does like prove that to me that I can, even in really bad scenarios. Like the worst doesn't happen, usually. But it did feel like the worst was going to happen at the time. It did literally feel like that. But I'm not going back in there. It felt like being in a submarine. But I did survive despite the stress, and the worst, completely losing control, did not happen. The food section was fine, so if we do go there again, I will still want to go into the food section, because our food section was absolutely fine. The food section didn't overwhelm me at all. That bit was fine. It was in a nice warehouse, airy, and I didn't feel trapped in the food section. So if we go again, I will certainly want to go back. The food section was the best bit anyway. The other bits I don't think were even that interesting anyway. So have any of you had stressful experiences in department stores? Do let me know. So I'm going to be moving on now to video number 2, where a bit more light-hearted in the next video, where I'm going to be talking about 2 more influential childhood reads, The Horrible Histories sticker book, and The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. So moving on to video number 2 now.